This is A New Angle, a show about cool people doing awesome things in and around Montana. I'm your host, Justin Angle. This show is supported by First Security Bank, Blackfoot Communications, and the University of Montana College of Business. Hey folks, welcome back, and thanks for tuning in. Today, I'm speaking with Will Lapointe, Chief Executive Officer at Pathlabs. Pathlabs is a Montana-made digital marketing company that just sold to MIQ in one of the largest acquisitions in Montana history.
Out in the marketplace, people love Montana. Lean into Montana. There's like so much great stuff about Montana, from the story, the people. You know, everybody's so great, so nice, so hardworking, and people in other markets want that.
I had the great pleasure of teaching Will during his time in our MBA program, and it's been amazing to watch his career and Pathlabs skyrocket in the years since. Will, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Justin. It's great to be here.
So tell us, where did you grow up and what did your parents do?
I grew up mostly in Spokane, Washington. I was actually born in Greenville, North Carolina, and bounced around Madison for a bit, and then Spokane for most of childhood. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad worked in he was a pharmaceutical exec.
And how did you make your way to Montana?
Quite frankly, it was one of those things that, like, growing up, it was like, well, I made like one smart decision. And it was like, well, if I hang out with my friends too much longer, I might not make it very far. So let me just, like, as much as I love these guys, like, put a little bit of distance between us. And I came here. I visited UM, Washington State, Eastern, Idaho, kind of some of the classics. I wasn't getting into Gonzaga. I wasn't getting into UW. I wasn't the world's best student. But I came here, and, from an education perspective, it genuinely felt like the best fit on the business school side. And my friends weren't going here. I didn't know a single person. And I thought that, this is good. I like it here.
Yeah.
And I probably won't get in too much trouble, and it'll force me to kind of like step outside my comfort zone and make new friends and figure something new out. And so we just gave it a shot.
Interesting. You had that self-reflection ability at that age to say, like, hey, the path I'm on maybe isn't the best one. I need to make a change.
You just watch people be like, oh, I'm going to go to college. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And you watch enough people mess around for long enough, and you're like, yeah, I could be a seventh year college student. And I'm kind of like a believer in the whole, like, you are the average of the 5 people you spend your most time around. So I've always been trying to kind of like push myself to up level my company and my the people I surround myself with, just to always stay just a little bit uncomfortable. It's not that I don't have dear friends from the past and all of those things. It's just like you always gotta try and grow a little bit.
First off, congrats on the deal. It's a huge milestone and accomplishment for you and your colleagues. How does it feel?
It really just feels good to be done with it.
Sure.
Probably not very many people have gone through an M&A process, but it is long, grueling, exhausting, and you're trying to run a business, meet targets, sell a business, and there's, once you say yes to that letter of intent, it's like, all right, like, we're gonna make this happen, and you have a goal set out to, like, get it done, and it's a pressure cooker. So the deal closes, the next day you wake up and you say, oh, whew, my headache's a little less severe than it was yesterday, and the next day my headache's a little less severe than it was the day before. So it's just honestly a relief to get it done.
Explain Pathlabs. What is the organization and why does it exist?
It's a digital media agency for other agencies. So we call ourselves a media execution partner, and really what we do is we help other agencies with buying, placing, planning, reporting, executing, optimizing digital media campaigns. So anything that's connected to the internet, whether that's, your ads on Hulu, your now ads on Netflix, your ads on watching the Prime Thursday Night Football game last night, whether it's the ads on the Missoulian.com, Facebook, Instagram, search, you name it. If it's connected to the internet, we place it, we plan it, we optimize it across all of those channels or within the channel, and we help with all of the analytics, attribution, measurement, so that, an agency can go back to their brand and say, hey, we spent X on these ad placements and we got Y as a return, and here's why you should keep doing what you're doing.
Translating this into something that I think any listener could understand. So a brand will often hire an agency to come up with a campaign, and that's sort of the Mad Men model, right? Like come up with a creative,
Yep.
right? The content. And then where you all step in is you say, okay, how do we get this content in front of the right customer, under the right conditions?
What used to happen is agencies, the Mad Men model, you come up with a campaign, you do the creative, you do the production, you do the filming, you do the creative, you shoot the ad, and then you say, okay, I'm going to go buy these billboards and these TV spots and we'll run it, and it'll come back and say, great, you showed up 10 million times. Sweet. That's the end of it. As the internet's evolved, it's gone from, you showed up 10 million times, so everybody wants to know more about what the return they're getting on. And it's created a ton of complexity, a ton of systems, a ton of technology to go and deploy it.
You mentioned a word in there a few moments ago, attribution. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? And is it something that's achievable?
Simply put, it's just attributing results and success to an activity, right? It's, hey, we did this. Can we attribute success to that? Yes or no? Can that be truly 100% done? It kind of depends on what you're doing. If you're selling widgets on the internet, yeah, you can. If you're selling cars off the lot, it's going to be more of a model, if you will. So it's helping the agency tell the right story on what attribution and success means. And there's varying degrees of accuracy that you can get to. 100% certainty is, yes, someone came and bought this widget on the internet. A little less certainty is who bought this car off the lot. But there's ways to infer that.
So this all rolls up into the digital marketing ecosystem we sort of all live with as consumers, for better and worse, right? You could make an efficiency argument that we're trying to match customers with solutions more efficiently. You could also say that we're figuring out a way to stock customers more efficiently. How do you sort of think about it from a value created standpoint?
I think from a customer standpoint, it's easy to sit there and be like, I hate ads. And there's kind of two ways about it. We can pay for content or we can get ads. And if we're going to get ads, I don't want to pay for every piece of content I get either, right? There's certain stuff, right? Like, I don't want ads on my Netflix. Mm-hmm. I want to watch a movie without ads. But, if I'm watching YouTube, if I'm, watching Hulu, it's like, okay, whatever. It's a necessary evil. And I would much prefer the targeted nature of ads today as a trade-off to non-personalized ads. I think it's interesting, right? Like, we're in a political season right now, and I think we're all sick of seeing political ads, right?
For sure.
And I think that's what the world could be like if we didn't have targeted ads. You'd be like, oh my God, how irrelevant is this? Or how sick am I of hearing about that? And when you have a system that has things like frequency capping, which is, hey, we're not going to show you the same ad 200 times a day, or hey, this is going to be something you're actually be interested in. And I think at this point, probably, most of us have bought something off an ad online. And how would I learn about new products and services if it wasn't for some better targeted ads? I find it fascinating when there's like a good new placement, and I find it like super annoying when it's a terrible placement or it's hammering me over the head like the political ads. Yes, there's an economic output to like the advertising system, but I think that the alternative is far worse for everybody.
Yeah, and given we described advertising as a necessary evil a moment ago, but given that we have it, it seems like why not have it done well? Like, show me stuff that I'm interested in and not the stuff that's irrelevant. We live in this sort of information economy that's overwhelming. So having some efficiency in what it shows up in my feed, on my television, whatever it is, seems to be quite a bit of value in that.
Yeah, and I think that it gives us the choice to say what we want to see and don't want to see, and it helps brands be more efficient, and hopefully over time, that's going to help grow the economy, grow customer bases, provide more jobs for people, because companies can be more efficient with the things that they're investing in. Instead of investing $2 million into ads, they could invest $1 million because they're smarter and they could give pay raises or have more jobs or provide a better quality product because they can make better margins. It's better for everybody if the ecosystem operates efficiently.
So it wasn't too long ago, a couple 3 years, where Pathlabs was born out of another Missoula startup, Luminad. Maybe talk a little bit about the origin story of Pathlabs and Luminad.
Pathlabs is kind of the business that was founded by Ryan Hansen in a lot of ways a decade ago as the company Luminad. Luminad started with the idea that we can democratize digital advertising for small and mid-market brands and agencies. And this is like 2014, 2015. So a lot of this technology wasn't widely accessible. A lot of the things that exist today didn't exist then. And Ryan's whole premise was like, hey, we can go bring this, make this more accessible for people that don't have it today. That's what he did, and that's what we did. And I came in at the end of 2016. It was really just kind of starting to take off and get going and hiring a few employees. But yeah, we were working with small agencies and small brands and just helping them run some campaigns. And over time, what we had kind of saw was there wasn't anywhere in the marketplace that was helping make all of the workflows and reporting any easier. It can be really challenging just to go through all of the different steps to run a campaign. We just started building stuff. We got hit up by some venture capitalists and investors, and they said, hey, you guys really got something going on here. Like, we had make the Inc. 5000. I think we were 29 at that time, and they're like, yeah, this is a cool business, but it's like also really sweet is SaaS,
software as a service.
Software as a service, and everybody, at the time, everybody was doing it, right? Everybody was going to be a SaaS platform, and that was the hot thing. And we also at the time didn't necessarily have a great differentiator on the media side, and we were struggling to really differentiate, and everybody was going towards software first and doing it themselves, and the technology was catching up. And we said, you know what, yeah, we ought to force ourselves to evolve here. We went through the painstaking process of trying to transform the business, and the idea at the time was we were going to lead with software, and then we were going to sell the services complementary to it. And we tried, and to make a long story short, the go-to-market of it was just too complicated. The other thing that I would say on that is we thought that it was going to be a 1 + 1 = 3 situation, and it kind of turned into 1 + 1 = 1.5, right? So there's a bit of diminishing return. The software business wasn't able to go to market the way it needed to.
They weren't as complementary as you thought they would be.
They were contradictory. You're kind of getting diminishing output from your 1 + 1. It wasn't even equaling 2. So the services business wasn't growing, the software business wasn't growing, and so that was the point in time we decided, hey, let's spin out the services business. Let's spin out Pathlabs. I was running the media part of the business. I'd been running it for a while. We said, hey, listen, Luminad's a great name. Everybody knows as a software. Y'all keep Luminad. We'll go figure it out. We'll come up with a new name. We'll hire a new exec team. We'll take the people that we have working on the media side of the business, and we'll go figure it out. So I was early 2021, and so we went and we hired a head of sales, a head of product, a head of service. We brought the CFO over, and we hired a CMO who's now our COO, and we hit the ground running. And the biggest thing I think we did well at Pathlabs was just focusing on what the problem for the customer we're trying to solve is, and then just going through all of the boring, brutal steps to do everything right on that. And it's what problem are you solving for the customer? Does the value proposition align with the problem you're solving? Then from there, we kind of went through this phase of can we get product market fit? Do people want to buy the services we have to offer? And then over time, it was okay, cool. Yes, people want to buy this. Now, do we have message market fit? And can we get a predictable and repeatable customer acquisition model going? So we really focus on the data of the business. How many leads to get how many, meetings to get how many customers, some basic pipeline stuff. And then how can we go scale the go-to-market? And does that scale? And so it was just forcing ourselves to go through a lot of the 101 principle stuff that you've learned here at University of Montana. That's sometimes really easy to forget that all those things need to click together. And we had a lot of reps at trying it again at Luminad, and simplifying the business down to one core thing, and just focusing on we are going to be the best in the world at providing media services to agencies in this market segment, and tailoring everything towards that, from the service model, the pricing, the messaging, the go-to-market strategy, the types of people we're hiring. It worked. And it's hard to be everything to everybody and do so many different things. And we really just broke it all down and just did all the hard work. And it ended up and it'll be all right.
We'll be back to my conversation with Will Lapointe after this short break. A New Angle is proudly presented by First Security Bank, Blackfoot Communications, and the University of Montana College of Business. This show does not happen without these pillars of our community, and I'm so grateful for their support and encouragement. And speaking of support, have you checked out our new website yet? anewanglepodcast.com. There you can support our show directly with a variety of subscription options. Subscribers get access to bonus episodes, additional segments, writings, and other benefits. So check it out at anewanglepodcast.com.
Hey, this is Jeff Petticord, and you're listening to A New Angle.
Welcome back to A New Angle. I'm speaking with Pathlabs CEO Will Lapointe about his role in one of Montana's largest ever corporate acquisitions. So in that story, it's not many years that it took to go from some number under 10 to some number around 150 today. That's a tremendous challenge. And you're in the leadership role. So outside of the sort of features and benefits of the product, what it can do for customers, just talk about that leadership challenge that you went through, growing your organization and finding your way as a leader.
We took everything we had, everything we knew, everything that was existing, and just said, we're not doing it anymore. We got rid of a bunch of our back office and sales systems. We just stripped everything down to the values even. We said, hey, these values aren't right for us right now. And we just started brick by brick. We spent a ton of time on that kind of culture building stuff and just trying to build an awesome culture. And that worked really, really well. The other thing that we did from that standpoint is, and I think as you see other organizations, I think we do really well, is slowing down and bringing everybody along and bringing everybody through the process and trying to not make too many unilateral decisions.
Yep.
So, it's doing things it's really easy to be hey, we're going to do this and it's going to work like this, that. And instead to be no, slow down. Let's get everybody together. What problem are we trying to solve here? Is that problem worth solving? What are the potential unintended consequences of solving that problem? Great. How do we measure the success of us solving this problem? And then what do we got to do about it? And taking things and going through it that way as a collective with everybody, and not, it's really easy as a leader to be I'm the boss. We're going to do this. Why? Just trust me. I got it. You're going to be fine. No, you got to slow down. You got to bring people along, and it's your leadership team, it's your exec team, but it's also the rest of the company too. And we built this big culture of transparency, and it's just been doing those things and really focused on building a culture that's that everybody's on the same page of. It's focused, and it's just we call it an information radiator. The information flows down, it flows up, it flows down, it flows up, and it just keeps everybody connected and just being as transparent as possible. Also being just, down to earth. It's, it's easy to be oh, we've got this big, successful business. So look at me. It's no, it's not about me, or it's not about our exec team. It's about everybody. And just staying grounded.
And how about finding good people? You're a world-class organization. You have to have found a suitable workforce here in Missoula and beyond.
We had this pre-existing relationship with but we were we want to be the premier employer in the Missoula area. There's a lot of companies, and we love everybody around here, but we're just you know what, we're gonna be that.
Sure.
For
It's
Missoula.
a great aspiration.
And it was our kind of one of our goals, and we really set out to just continue to forge the relationship with We have the class here that we do, and then we put a spin on it, and we called the whole program Your Path. And so what we have is that starts here with our class at and then we have our internship program we do now, and then outside of the internship program, we bring folks into the organization, and we have a Your Path learning management system, and then we also have a director of education that we hired at the company, which is kind of an interesting role for a company at our size. You don't usually see that at 150. That's more like a 1,500 person company, but we've really, really been big believers in education. And one of the things I always like to say is just especially in like entry level roles, but it doesn't, not even just entry level roles, but you hire the character and the person first, and then we can train them and teach them the skill sets. As long as it's the right character and they want to work hard and they want to learn and they want to grow, we can teach all the other stuff. I don't need someone to come in that knows everything under the sun about trafficking ads to the internet like that. We can teach that.
And you're finding a suitable supply of that character, as you put it, here in Missoula and other places in Montana?
Probably still over half the employees at Pathlabs are Missoula, or I guess at least Montana folks. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's been great. That's actually been one of the things early on that was an interesting thing. I think we still do talk about this to our clients, is like, hey, because one of the problems our agency partners have is finding talent. They cannot find talent. We always say, listen, you can't, universities don't just make, people to trade ads on the internet. That's not like, they don't make just day traders for ads.
Yeah.
That's not a degree. So we have to manufacture them, and we partner with UM to do that. And that's become a big selling point for us to our customers. Is like, hey, why do we have great people? Why do we have a great supply of talent? Why can we continuously service your account even as we grow? It's like, hey, because we have a great pipeline of talent here from the University of Montana and our Your Path program. And so that's actually it is a selling point in our pitch.
So let's talk a little bit about MIQ. What do we need to know? What do Montana listeners need to know about MIQ and why they were the right acquirer of Pathlabs?
MIQ for a lot of people in the industry is kind of the darling of what we call programmatic managed services, which is kind of the sector we live in. And they are, the top line on MIQ is they're about 1,400 employees globally. They're headquartered in the UK. They have a large US presence, but they are a global company doing business all across Europe, Asia, North America, getting into LATAM. And for us, the acquisition is an interesting process. Is a couple reasons on why they're right for us is, for Pathlabs, we lead the market, like our market segment, in terms of like services, people, processes. Where we're looking to grow from Pathlabs' perspective is in technology enablement. We've since said, hey, we're not going to go build our own custom software, whereas MIQ has quite a bit of technology under the hood that they've built, and we get to inherit it from a product perspective. And so for us as a company, it was like, hey, we can continue to be the best in the world at servicing agencies, and we can partner with MIQ to provide the best in class technology that can really help us like continue to scale. So there was that component of it. That's just kind of like the X's and O's on it, and we were kind of at this precipice for us as a business, being like, hey, this is the next evolution of us building it out. It's people, process, technology is how we think about it, and the people and process lead, technology lags for us, and we need to go like bolster that part up. And it was like, hey, we can either spend 5 years figuring this out, or we can, fast forward 5 years and skip that part that we're, a little less passionate about.
Sure.
and partner with MIQ. From a fit perspective, the thing that got us most excited was the people. Their leadership team is awesome. They're, from a values perspective, it's like tomato. We really, really, really liked them. We bonded with them. We gelled with them. And it felt like the best possible home we could give Pathlabs. This is probably the best home we're ever going to find for it, probably better home than we could even give it ourselves. And so, all right, let's do it. This is the best thing for our customers, for our employees. And there's, we grow 10%. We had 14 jobs. They grow 10%. They had 140 jobs. And there's more places that our people can go and grow and, level up faster than we could level them up here ourselves.
And so, given that Montana is such a rich habitat for entrepreneurship, what does it say about being able to grow and sell and scale a business in the style of Pathlabs here in Montana? What can other entrepreneurs glean from your story?
Early days, we were really bashful about the Montana roots.
Yeah.
And it was like, we were kind of like, oh man, people aren't going to want to buy from an ad tech company in Missoula, Montana. Like, this is New York and LA and London and, all the sexy markets. And over time, we started to lean into it, and say, you know what? Hey, we're an ad tech company from Missoula, Montana, and we're different than everybody on the fringes, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's a different DNA about a company in Montana. It's, the people of Montana and the culture of Montana is there's a lot of blue collar roots and a lot of hardworking roots, and people really do appreciate and respect that, and they are looking for that. They're not just looking for the folks that have the hottest, coolest, thing on the street. They're looking for people that, come from the right backgrounds that they can bond with from a relationship perspective. They're down to earth. They, can see themselves working with, and that is Montana and Montanans. And again, it's easy to be like, I'm from Montana. Like, this isn't some major market, but out in the marketplace, people love Montana. Lean into Montana. There's so much great stuff about Montana, from the story, the people, everybody's so great, so nice, so hardworking, and people in other markets want that. They love that. People can be sick of hearing the large market pitch on everything, and it's just refreshing to folks. And it can be hard to come to grips with oh yeah, people want to hear that. But it's no, yeah, people do want to hear that. People want to be here. People want to come to Montana, and it's a great place. And I think everybody should just you should own it.
What's next for you? How does your day-to-day change, if at all? And what's the next chapter in Will Lapointe's life?
As of right now, it's back to running the business.
Yeah.
It was the first few days I got up on the phone with Cortland and Evan. They run our sales and service product teams, and I was just oh God, guys, I'm so happy to be talking to you guys about about the business, about the people, about a deal, and not talking to investment bankers and consultants and accountants and lawyers and gosh knows who else. And it's just I'm just jazzed to be working on the business and getting back to growth, quite honestly. So, for me, that's what's next. It's just doing that, more of the same. And it's interesting. You go from doing a deal like that and running a business to just running the business. You're you get a little itchy. You're man, I'm not as busy as I once was. Am I am I working hard enough? Is everything going on? It's no, dude, you're cool. This is how life should be.
Right.
And not, waking up at 4 a.m. to get on a phone call with someone in London and staying up until midnight crunching a deck for a banker, So now that that's over with, it's just, for me, it's can I get a good workout out and can I focus on running the business? And I'm happy.
It's been a fantastic story to watch and experience, and I'm just so happy for you and all your colleagues and all the hard work that you've all done. And thanks for coming on the show and sharing it with us.
I appreciate it. Go Grizz.
Thanks for listening to A New Angle. If you like what we do and want to support us directly, please consider a subscription at anewanglepodcast.com. A New Angle is recorded at Studio 49, a generous gift from UM alums Michelle and Lauren Hansen. Our presenting sponsors are First Security Bank, Blackfoot Communications, and the University of Montana College of Business. Kelly Larson is our producer. Maddie Jordan is our production assistant. VTO, Jeff Ament, and John Wicks made our music, and Jeff Meese is our master of all things sound. Thanks a lot, and see you next time.